All right, welcome to this episode of Let's Get Quizzical. I'm your host, Anthony Martinez, and on this episode, we will be talking about the San Antonio Spurs, landscaping, and The Office. I'm going to be quizzing Lorenzo Melchor on these topics, so thanks for coming on the podcast, Lorenzo.
Yeah, Anthony, this is great. I'm looking forward to it, and actually, I remember two of those topics I gave you, and I was trying to remember what the third one was.
That's kind of how it's been a couple of times.
Is it? Okay.
Because sometimes it's like takes a while to get the quiz put together.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I don't even remember what I told you.
How long does it take normally for you to come up with questions?
It depends. Some topics I can find like 3 or 4 things like really fast that are like pretty interesting, and others it's like this was very difficult for landscaping because I'm like I don't even know how to
like it's pretty broad.
Yeah, mostly what I do when I first start off with like my research is I just type in the topic and then like trivia or fun facts.
Okay.
And sometimes you get very ridiculous quizzes that are like completely unhelpful, where it's like all of the most basic information you could find on it's like everybody knows this stuff. I don't even watch this and I know this stuff.
Well, cool, man. Well, I'm excited, and hopefully I can get some of them right.
All right, so let's start off with the San Antonio Spurs. So like what got you into that?
Both my parents are from Texas. My mom really didn't like sports that much, but my dad was a big Spurs fan, Cowboys fan. So that's what got me started into it. I remember as a little kid, they were always good enough to be in the playoffs, but just could never win a championship.
Yeah.
And I always remember, because I live in Ohio, I could never watch a lot of games, but their playoff games would be on.
Yeah.
So I remember specifically being in my parents' room, setting up a laundry basket with like rolled up socks or something and just shooting, like pretending, like as I'm watching the game, like shooting. But I also remember like I was into it, but I never remember my dad watching like games with me, but I knew he was a fan.
Yeah.
Cause I was always in his room. He was doing whatever, but in his room, setting up a laundry basket, shooting hoops while I'm watching the game, but he wasn't there. So I don't know, where that like disconnect came from, but it was a connection enough where, I could keep it alive for me. And now my kids. So
a short little story about the Dallas, the Cowboys is my uncle is from Colorado, and when I was younger, I just like picked a random team. I was like, all right, what football team can I root for?
Yeah,
and I was like, in my head, this was really young, so I didn't know anything, and I was like, oh, my uncle's from Colorado, I'm gonna root for the Dallas Cowboys. in my head, I was like, yeah, Dallas is in Colorado. No. So for the longest time, I was a Cowboys fan for the wrong reason.
because they're in Colorado. That's right. Oh man.
Yeah. So let's get onto this first question here. So the retired Spurs player Tim Duncan originally wanted to be an Olympic swimmer, but his town's only Olympic swimming pool was closed for what reason? And I have multiple choice here. If you don't know that answer,
I do know the answer.
Okay.
He's from the Virgin Islands, I believe, and they had a hurricane.
Yes.
And it wiped out the pool, which totally changes the course of not only his career, but the Spurs franchise, because he went to, playing college basketball. He was the number 1 pick, and because of him, they won 5 NBA championships. So it was, such a horrible thing and I guess that's how those things work out, right?
Yeah. Like
those horrible, whatever it is, like totally changes the people's view on anything. And it just happened to be, it sounds so bad to say a benefit for me, but this horrible thing you guys went through is cool.
Yeah. For him and whoever supports him.
Yeah.
And then another story about that was he was like the only thing, like he could have went and like swam in the ocean, but he has a fear of sharks.
Yeah.
So then he started just playing basketball.
Because you think about that too. You're like, well, you're surrounded by water.
Yeah.
But if you don't like sharks, then you ain't gonna go in there.
You might swim faster though.
I guess. Oh yeah.
So the second question I have is the Spurs mascot, the Coyote, was the only mascot to be ejected in a game. What team was he playing against when he got ejected?
I remember him getting like it being a story, but I don't remember the team.
I can give you a multiple choice.
Sure.
So you could try to guess. All right. So there's the Jazz, the Suns, the Mavericks, or the Timberwolves.
This is just a guess. I'm going to say the Mavericks.
It was the Timberwolves.
Okay. What did he do?
So in 2005, the Coyote was mocking, I don't know how to say this guy's name, Wally
Zerbiak.
Yep. And after he had fouled a few of the Spurs, and then the ref, Jeff Kursky, was just so mad, and he said, "Get this wolf out of here!" And
he ejected him.
He ejected him.
I wonder if that's the first time a mascot has ever been ejected, or the only time.
I searched, I couldn't find anything else, but it was also a while when I did this, so maybe I did find something, but at least to my knowledge, that was the only time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's hilarious just to think about.
Yes, I'd like to see a video on exactly what he was doing. Like if it's just normal mascot stuff and this official just wasn't having a good day or what, or if, he did something more. I guarantee it wasn't explicit, but if he just did something more than you normally don't do. But I just
thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
So then the next question is, legendary coach Greg Popovich is the most winningest coach of all time with a record of 1,344 out of 701 losses.
Mm-hmm.
So he was in the United States Air Force Academy, and he had one other career before becoming a coach. Do you know what that career was?
Oh, no,
I have multiple choices.
Yeah.
Okay. Spy, electrical engineer, pilot, or computer programmer?
Pilot.
He was a spy.
A spy? Yes. Oh my gosh. It had to be like, how long was he a spy for?
I don't have a lot of that information.
That's crazy. A spy.
I know. I was like, that was one of the most wild things I found while I was doing the research. Like, how does this even come about?
Yeah. How do you go from like, I'm in the military and I'm a spy to like, well, I guess I'm going to coach now.
Yeah.
Like, and not be
win more than everybody else.
Yeah. be the most winningest coach. That is a good point. Yeah.
I don't know how those
they got to work together, right?
Translate.
Yeah. At some point. A spy. Wow.
So the next topic I have is landscaping, which was kind of the hardest topic.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what's here.
And so then, what got you into landscaping?
I think I remember as a kid, my dad would I had to mow the grass for my parents. I did a front yard, which is considerably easier than the backyard. My brother did the backyard. But I remember my dad always wanting to. He always planted flowers. He liked planting impatiens, super shady. So we had impatiens. And for me, it was just him wanting to do that, whatever. And I remember one time, he told me to go pull weeds out there. And I was like, well, I have this weed spray. I'll just spray the weeds. And I sprayed everything and it killed everything because I didn't know. I was a child. And he's like, what happened to all my plants here? I was like, I sprayed this weed spray and it just, I don't know what happened. He was like, well, that kills everything. So he had to buy new plants. But that's the first thing I remember is him wanting to beautify our yard, I guess. And then as I got older, I went to college after high school, but I was not ready. It wasn't my thing. So didn't go to college for a while. And then I decided, my wife and I was like, hey, I should probably get some sort of degree. So I went to the Owens catalog of all their stuff they offer. Mm-hmm. And I just kept flipping pages. And I would dog ear one and I ended up with 60 things. And I'd go through it again and just keep dumping it down until there was 2. It was landscaping, which is so I just wanted to be outside, and then X-ray tech. So those were the 2 things I came down to. Wow. So landscape and turf grass management went out because again, it's well, I guess I want to be outside more. And that was really the only reason. And then as I got into it, there's 2 tracks you can take. You can either do landscaping or turf grass management. Mm-hmm. At the time, I did not want to mow. I did not want to work at a golf course. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. So I was like, well, I'll do landscaping. And that's kind of what started it. I found that there's so many cool plants and trees and stuff out there. The classes I took were really cool. I did a soil science class to learn more about soils. I took a design class, which was cool to figure out how to make a design for a customer. They had a greenhouse there that I did a little bit with, but not too much. But there was just a lot of cool classes. The guy there, Chris Foley, the one who runs the program, he's a good dude. I still talk to him. I'll go out there probably once or twice a year. They have plant sales. So I'll go out there, buy some plants and stuff. But then after getting jobs in that, then I was like, man, this is just fun. I like being outside. I like doing this. And that's what, if you look at my backyard, I wouldn't have any grass if I didn't have kids. Like I just have plants everywhere and trees and stuff, but they got to be able to run around. So, but I got pear trees. I got a big garden. I got a raspberry and strawberry patch. I got asparagus. I got all kinds of stuff. Peach tree. So it's just fun. It morphed into like not just my job, but doing stuff at home. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Do you do any of that stuff?
I do have a small garden that we like plant.
I remember like commenting about it. You had a question or something about it, and I remember on Facebook I saw that.
Yeah. It's this one we're like getting better every year.
Sure. So. Yeah.
So it's been pretty cool. We built like an above ground like garden bed, and we'll probably build another one next to it.
Nice.
Next year. So.
Yeah. It's so much fun, and my favorite part when I have those, like my kids will be running around and then they'll just stop at the raspberry patch and eat raspberries right off the, it's like cool to like see them eat food out of our backyard.
Yeah.
So that I like that part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the,
I want to hear these questions.
Okay. So, all right. So I found a trivia, a quiz, like a trivia quiz online.
Okay.
What is the name of the article I got the next question from? So, and here's the multiple choice. Why the lawn face? Don't beat around the bush. Cut me some grass. Or time flies when you're mowing the lawn.
Can I tell you how difficult this is? Because you are like the pun master. So every one of these could just be one you made up.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite things. I'll be reading something you put on Facebook and it's like this long thing. I'm like, oh, what's this? And then at the end, you're like, God. So it would be perfect for my other podcast, 3 Different Dads, which I fill in. So a couple weeks I'll be reaching out to you because I think you'd be good there. Yeah. So, but yeah. What can you read them again?
Yes. Why the lawn face? Don't beat around the bush. Cut me some grass. Time flies when you're mowing the lawn.
I'm gonna say don't beat around the bush.
It's why the lawn face.
God, I thought that was one of yours for sure.
I wish that was one of mine.
Why the lawn face?
Yes, that was so good. That's another reason I made this podcast. I listened to Jordan Jesse Go. The podcast, and they will sometimes do a bit on the show where they will make up some dumb like topic, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna name off all of these things, you have to figure out which the right one is, and then they'll do like 15 fake names and then one real name, and then I was like, I want to do that all the time. And the best part of their bit is if they don't get it, because they almost never get it because they give so many fake options. They just don't tell them, and then just go on with the show.
My God. That'd be so frustrating.
So that's why a lot of my questions will be like that, where I just come up with a pun and
that's awesome. Like I said, that other podcast I do, we do dad jokes, and they're always puns. Like there's no, like whenever you Google dad jokes, they're always puns.
Yeah.
But we started with doing it at the end. Like we just know here we're going to say dad jokes. And now we're getting into where we're trying to weave them in and surprise the other 2 guys. And that has become so fun to try to like get these topics in and trying to know ahead of time what we're going to talk about is very difficult. So then just like on the fly, like trying to get these dad jokes, it's been a lot of fun, but I appreciate puns as well. Yeah.
All right, so this is the question I got from that article. The article I read gave a lot of good reasons to have a lawn, and that it seemed kind of like it was propaganda paid for by Big Lawn. So I'm going to give you 4 facts that were in the article and 1 fact that I made up.
Okay.
Can you guess which one I made up?
All right. This is good. Yeah.
Okay. So here's the first one. Lawns are 3 times more productive at producing oxygen than trees. Lawns trap about 12 million tons of dust annually. 1 acre of grass produces more oxygen than 1 acre of rainforest. Using turf instead of concrete on road embankments reduces the traffic noise by 200%. And a 50 by 50 foot area of healthy lawn generates enough oxygen to supply a family of 4.
All right. There's 3 oxygen ones on there. So I'm going to say it was one of those. And I'm going to go with basically the one that says grass is better than the Amazon rainforest.
Okay. This was a trick question. They're all from this article.
Oh, really?
I could not think of something that was more believable. than any of the things it's.
This does sound like big long propaganda.
Yeah, I was reading it, and everyone, I'm like, what? This is insane. This can't be real.
Yeah. None of those were unbelievable. Like they were hard. Yeah. I can see how, like I can't make one better than these. Yeah.
I promise I won't do any more trick questions.
Okay. That's okay.
All right. And then the last one is, which country is known as the landscape capital in the world?
Oh.
Because they employ more landscapers than any other country and have the most national parks. And I have multiple choice if you want that.
Employ the most people and have the most national parks. Wow. I wanted to, like, right away, I was like, who provide the most landscapers? My answer was gonna be very stereotypical and, like, I don't know, some South American country, right? So what are the
so we got
options here?
USA, Brazil, Australia, or Iceland.
I know we have a lot of national parks here, but is it more than anybody else? I'm gonna say United States because you said employ and not. I'm gonna say United States.
Okay, it is Australia.
Really?
Yes, which I was
now. Do they have
shocked to hear.
Do they have the most national parks, or do they just have the most land that is a national park? I wonder because they have a lot of places that just aren't inhabitable by people. But
it was worded as the most national park. So
okay. All right.
I don't know the difference, but at least that's from what I found. It said the most national parks.
All right. Wow. Yeah, that's surprising. Have you visited any of our national parks?
Yeah, I've gone. We actually went to the. Oh wait, no, national parks. No.
Yeah,
I've gone to a lot of the metro parks.
Yeah,
no national parks yet.
My dad has like a thing he's trying to go to. He says all of them, but I think if you look at national parks, there's two lists. There's like every single one of them, which is hundreds, and then there's like a separate list, which is like the main ones or something. I don't know. And he's trying to like go to all those, but he's been all over. He likes hiking and doing that kind of stuff. He took my mom one time or several times, but this one time they went and, I don't know if my dad went on the wrong trail or picked the wrong trail, but it was a little more difficult than they both thought. Yeah. So they had to like escape a little bit and get back because it was too much for them. Like, hey, you guys are old now. Like, you can't just be hiking.
Yeah, we went on this like hiking trail in where were we? We were like in Georgia. Mm-hmm. We found this hiking trail, and Amber was probably 5 months pregnant at the time. So we just assumed it was going to be like this regular trail.
Yeah.
So we should have been tipped off when there's like right before you go on a trail, you have to like go to this like place and then they like give you like a talk about it. So then right away we should have been like, okay, this isn't just like a trail you could just go on. So you start by going down this like these stairs, and then once you get to the stairs, the start of the trail, you have to jump from like big boulder God. Over like there's a waterfall going on, so you have to like go across it. And then it was just insane. There was like another part where you're walking through the river, but it's like a really short part.
Yeah.
And super slippery rocks. And then we went up, it was like maybe like a 60-degree angle that was like going back up the mountain.
Oh, while pregnant.
Like, how is it was a bad idea.
Did you make it all the way through?
Yeah, we made it all the way through.
I wonder sometimes like if there are points where you can just like abandon ship and there's like, here, if you don't want to go the rest of the way, just go here and you're done or something. You know what I mean? Or like, this is a lot easier to get around or something. I don't know.
I didn't find any. So maybe some places do, but that place did not.
Oh man. Yeah. That seems like you got in trouble for that.
No, I mean, when it comes to hiking, it's her idea. So,
okay. All right. So the whole time you're just like, hey, it was your idea, remember? That's probably why you got in trouble. Have you been down, speaking of parks, I always like to promote our parks. Have you been down to the ice skating ribbon?
Yeah, we went last week. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So that's the park that I manage.
Yeah.
And today's, well, by the time you hear this, it's done. But we've had so many more people than we thought we'd have. Mm-hmm. I think they said we've had probably at this point, over 14,000 people since February 2nd, which is so awesome. And I can't wait till the park opens fully because there's so much. I don't know if you saw the propaganda in there. Like, there's so many cool things that are going to be there, like especially someone with kids that will really enjoy. So I'm glad you had a good time though. It was fun.
It was fun. Amber was like, why don't they do this like throughout the whole winter. I'm like, this is their first, it's like just opened up. I think they're gonna try to work some things out before committing to something like that.
That's exactly the case. Actually, everything was half capacity. And next year when we start, it's going to start in November and end about now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a much longer season. But we weren't going to do it at all until we found like, oh, we're pretty close to being done with this ice skating part. So let's open it a little bit. But it's a big undertaking. And luckily we have a rink management system who does all that for us. Like the Metro Parks doesn't really, we're just there to like help and make sure the parks open, the buildings clean, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But that's eventually I think there's people that want us to take it over, but we'll see because I don't want to. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah. Ice rink management's a lot different than landscaping, all that kind of stuff.
Very much. Yes.
So let's get on to the last topic here. It's The Office.
Yeah.
What kind of got you into The Office?
So also, I feel like if you ask these people, there'd be a lot of people that want to do The Office. It's such a popular show. I remember we got married and we didn't go anywhere because I was in school and we both had jobs. I was in school, so we didn't go for a honeymoon right away. So what we did have a week off and we watched 4 seasons of The Office. I think that's all that were out at the time, maybe.
Yeah.
But we watched my friend had the box set at the time of those 4. So we watched them all and it was such a good show. And it was one of those things that, even if the show wasn't like the best show ever, which we thought was a really good show, like it was one of the things that we did together. So it's like, well, let's just do this thing. And we still do that with TV shows now. We very rarely, we barely have enough time to watch TV by ourselves, without kids, when they're sleeping. So we hardly have any time to watch separate shows. So any show we watch, we pretty much agree on that we're going to watch this. So I think that's it started there. And even now, I think actually we just watched an episode of The Office last night. So like, it's still one of those things that we watch just whenever we're winding down or ready to go to bed or whatever, fall asleep to it or something. But it started just by us getting married and watching too many episodes in a week.
I've watched. I don't watch it a lot, and I mostly see clips of it online that are very fun, but I just haven't gotten around to actually.
You've never watched it like all the way through or anything?
No.
Yeah. Are there any TV series that you watch like that?
Yeah. I mean, I've watched. I'm watching You right now.
Oh yeah. We just finished that up. We're waiting for March 9th now for the second part of the season to come out.
Yeah. We gotta catch up. Amber's not really into this one.
Oh no!
Oh
man!
I don't think she's as into like murder mysteries, and she was also like, she's like breastfeeding while we're watching it stuff, so kind of getting a little distracted while we're watching.
Sure,
so this season's a little more like you have to really kind of pay attention to what's going on. So.
Yeah. I do like that. I like You. But speaking of murder mysteries, it reminded me of that. Murderville. Did you watch that?
No.
Oh, that is really good. So I don't know if you know anything about it. It is murder mysteries, but each episode they bring on a guest star who does not know what's happening. They know they're on this show.
Okay.
But everything is scripted except for what they're doing. So like Will Arnett is the main guy. He plays this detective and each new person is his trainee.
Yeah.
So then they got to solve a mystery. A murder, and at the end of each episode, there's 3 suspects, and then that special guest has to figure out which one it is. And then it's cool because at the end of the episode, they're like, "Oh, it's this person," and then they go back and say, "And these are the reasons why," and it shows like the clips on why it's this person. Oh, this person was left-handed, or this person didn't eat this kind of food, or whatever. So it's like how it wraps it up is pretty cool, and it's hilarious. So if you guys are looking for something to watch, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
That is good. I think they're only half-hour shows, maybe 30-40 minutes, something like that, but it's a really good show. And it's 6 episodes, and then they put out a Christmas special
cool
where Santa died. So but yeah, it's cool. Like I said, if you guys want to just like, you can pay attention as much as you want to pay attention, but you don't have to to get it. But it's a good show. Yeah.
All right. So the first question I have is I'm going to give you quotes from the show, and you just have to tell me who said the quotes.
Okay. Before we start, I feel like of all the topics, this was the easiest to find trivia for.
Yeah, there was like hundreds of stuff that I could find.
Yeah.
So then it goes like another problem I have when I'm doing these is I don't always know about the topics.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, how easy is this? Because I don't want these questions to be so incredibly easy that there's like nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
And then I also don't want them to be like, this is one of like the most obscure things I could find. So.
Yeah. This is the one I was most confident in. So we'll see how this goes.
All right. So the first one I have, it's like I used to tell my wife, I do not apologize unless I think I'm wrong. And if you don't like it, you can leave. And I say the same thing to my current wife. And I'll say it to my next one too.
That's Stanley Hudson.
Yes.
Yeah. That's he I remember, like, I don't remember that specific, but I remember like why he says like my current wife and my next wife. Yeah. But I think he's super. I think there's a lot of characters on The Office that are underrated because you're so focused on Pam and Jim and Dwight, right? But I like Stanley. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like all of everybody has like their moments where they really shine.
Yeah, and I'm learning more too because I'm listening to the Office Ladies podcast where they go through every episode and like getting all this background information, or even the writers will come on and they'll say stuff like, oh yeah, we noticed like going through these episodes, this character didn't get a lot of, there's no big storyline, so they're trying to like weave some of those in, every once in a while. Yeah.
All right, the next quote I have is, no Rose, they are not breathing, and they have no arms or legs. Where are they? You know what? If we come across somebody with no arms or legs, do we bother resuscitating them? I mean, what quality of life is it? Or what quality of life do we have there?
That was Dwight.
That was Michael Scott.
Oh, yeah. It was either him or Dwight when they were doing when they had someone come in for CPR training.
Yeah, that clip is so funny.
The one where Dwight cuts the face off, too. Yeah, I remember my mom says she shows that because she does CPR classes. She'll show that. She has shown that clip before,
It's just like chaos like the whole time. It's like they start singing Staying Alive.
Yeah.
While they're doing that, he comes up with a face on it.
Gonna harvest the organs.
Pulls like a just gigantic knife out of his like
the sock or wherever. Yeah.
All right. The next one is, sometimes I feel like everyone I work with is an idiot. And by sometimes, I mean all times. All the time, every of the time.
Oh, man. Is that Dwight?
No.
Oh, man.
That's Kevin.
I don't remember him. I don't remember that at all. Kevin. He was another good character. I just sent a clip to my friend because he asked me if a new episode was coming out, and I just wrote the word or the letter Y. And in my brain, I was like, I'm saying yes. And he made a comment of like, he's like, I hope it was worth the confusion is to either you were saying yes or you were asking why. And then I sent him a clip of Kevin. There was an episode where Kevin was using a lot, like few words, like less words. And I sent him a clip of him saying, why use less? Why use more word when less word do trick?
The last quote I have is, would I ever leave this company? Look, I'm all about loyalty. In fact, I feel like part of what I'm being paid for here is my loyalty. But if there were somewhere else that valued loyalty more highly, I'm going wherever they value loyalty the most.
That's Dwight. Yes. Okay, good. I knew one of them.
That's like when people like brag about how humble they are. Like,
I'm the most humble person you've ever met. Like, well, not that sentence says otherwise.
Yeah, I just love that. I'm very loyal, but if somebody else wants more loyalty.
Oh, man.
Okay, so then, so this one, I promise, is not a trick question. I'm going to give you 10 episode titles, and one of them is made up and the rest are real. And then can you figure out the fake one?
I'm afraid you're not going to tell me, just like that podcast.
No, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But it's funny because I was putting this together, and then before I wrote down the answer, I stopped. I don't know what happened, but I just stopped doing it before I wrote down the answer. So then I came back to this because I knew we were going to record.
Yeah. And
I seen that I didn't write the answer. I'm like, oh no, maybe this is a trick question. So that I had to like search all of these to make sure they were there was a fake one in them.
That is, I mean, that's, I feel like when you were doing that, something happened with one of your kids at your house. You're like, oh, one of them has to go to the bathroom. And then you like stop and they just never came back to it. That's funny.
All right. So here are the titles.
All right.
There's Diversity Day, Hot Girl, The Dundies, Office Olympics, Drug Testing, Parkour, Ben Franklin, Branch Wars, Survivor Man, and Moroccan Christmas.
There was like there was like a lot of them I knew. There was the one Ben Franklin. I don't know if that was the name of the episode, but he was in one. So Ben Franklin. What was a few before Ben Franklin?
Office Olympics, Drug Testing, and Parkour.
Parkour too. I remember them doing parkour, but that was just like one of the cold opens. To me, it's between those two, and I'm gonna guess parkour.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
Parkour.
okay.
The title of the Parkour episode was called Gossip.
Okay, all right,
So-
yeah, because I remember that is another clip that's everywhere.
Yeah.
And on TikTok, people use the sound of them jumping around when it's like when their cats like going from place to place. So yeah, that is out there a lot. But yeah.
That's like I've seen that part, and I was like, maybe I could, because that's the only thing I could like really fake is by titling it something different, because I knew what the episode.
Oh
had in
yeah,
it, so.
yeah. But yeah, it made it a little easier because knowing it's just the cold open, like I knew. It couldn't be the entire episode.
Yeah. All right. So that's all I had. So now is usually when I have people plug whatever they would like. And then also any like show or something that you're really into at the moment.
So we talked about you. We were into that. I do want to start The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of that?
No, I haven't watched it. I also don't have, what is it, HBO?
Oh yeah. I got I don't think enough people listen to care or that anybody would care, but my in-laws still have cable.
Yeah.
So you can get a lot of things through their like cable password.
Mm-hmm.
But also people share so many passwords for everything. So we have pretty much everything that we could have. Either we pay for it or we use other people's stuff, which isn't like, it's not like it's not normal. I mean, it's just life. So we are watching you. We might start Last of Us tonight. I like Lego Wars. I don't know if you've ever seen that before.
No.
Will Arnett hosts that.
Is that where they like
competition?
Like build stuff with Legos?
Yeah, like every episode is like a theme.
Yeah.
I like watching that. The kids like to watch that. Any cooking shows, the kids like to watch too, especially when it's kids cooking. Which also I feel bad because they're awesome at whatever they're like baking, But yeah, that's what I'm into right now. Baseball is going to start soon, so we'll be watching a lot of baseball games. But yeah, and as far as my stuff, I have 2 podcasts. The Nerdball podcast, which has 150 episodes, and I've been really excited about it. All different kinds of people come on. You've been on twice. A lot of people come on, just talk about whatever. Like it's fun. I like interviewing people. I like finding information. And then another podcast called 3 Different Dads. Me and 2 of my friends started it. It was at first it was strictly like dad stuff where we would like bring in articles and talk about articles and how we would respond to this kind of stuff. And now we're just 3 dumb dads and we talk about whatever, But it is one of those things where it just morphs into like we find things we like, or we didn't like this, or I even created a segment because we had so many different segments.
Yeah.
I created a segment called Home Improvement, and I explained every dad or parent understands when they have a home, they have multiple projects going on at one time, right? And that's what this is. I say, all right, now time's the home improvement segment, and whatever segments we have floating out there is kind of where this gets dumped into because there's just so many things going on at one time. But those 2 things, and then the podcast network, which I did appreciate you congratulating me on a podcast network, even though it's both my podcasts are in the network. But it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing to have. And if advertisers ever do come, like, here's our network, here's our podcast, whatever. So that's called the Nerdball Network, which another thing, I started. But I love podcasting. It's so much fun. I had a lot of fun here with you. Again, this is it's cool to figure out I'm not as smart about these things as I thought I was. So that's always fun. But yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, and if you want to promote the building we're in since we're recording here.
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, we are recording at Fort Meg's CrossFit in Perrysburg. It's fortmegscrossfit.com. They have classes 7 days a week for any ages, any skill level. Check all the information you need is at fortmegscrossfit.com. So yeah, thanks for that, man. And the YouTube page, my YouTube page for Nerdball. It's just look for the Nerdball podcast. I have 59 subscribers, and I'd like to get to a point where I have more subscribers than videos. So,
all right, well, get on it. All 5 of my listeners, get over there.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.